Hello and welcome to Nanapod, a podcast dedicated to the fantastic manga written by A. Yazawa. I'm Crystal, and I'm joined by my best girl Kirsten as we dissect this manga, discussing everything from the emotions, the cultural impact, as well as any headcanons that might be floating around in our brains. With this podcast, we hope to preserve a shoujo staple that sadly hasn't been talked about in a very long time. So come with us. We're waiting for you in apartment 707. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Nanapod. And let's see, we are picking back up in chapter 61. So we start out here with the think boxes again. And it says, the last image of my mother, whose face I can't even remember, is her receding figure running at high heels in the falling snow at the end of winter. But there's no way you can run in the snow with shoes like that. My memories aren't very realistic. She probably was not running away, you know. Like children's memories are, we think we remember stuff a certain way and then it wasn't actually like that. She was probably wearing red shoes though, which is why her grandmother forbade her from wearing red. And now we have a little cafe, and it's Karada, the mosquito, and he's showing a picture of Nana's mother to Hachi. And he says, "Don't look at me like that." And because she's just glaring at him out of the side of her eyes while she's drinking her tea. And then she's like, "So, you really investigated her entire past?" And he says, "Of course. I've been running around all over the place for a month doing that. I'm beat." And Hachi says, "I have a hard time believing that the same woman who abandoned Nana and disappeared has actually raised 2 children properly and has a normal family now." And Karada just says, "If you're that suspicious, you should go find out for yourself. I trust you." And he lays a card down for the ramen shop that she's at. And he says, "I know you won't talk about Nana's family to other people." And she looks at the card and then she's like, "Of course I wouldn't. So you're barking up the wrong tree to get any of her private information from me." And he just pauses and he says, "I know." She says, "In any case, it's stupid to talk to me to try to get the scoop, Mr. Karada." And he looks over at her, and like Nana is very serious right now. You know, Hachi Nana she's got this look that's just like, "I'm really tired of you fucking people. Why are you like this? And yes, I will absolutely protect my best friend from you." And she says, "Now that I know that Search is digging all this up, I'll do everything I can to stop it from going to print." She means it. She's such a good friend. And now we have a scene change to, I believe this is the meeting that Misatos was supposed to be at. There's a little tunk of like one of those little water thingies with the bamboo. And the greasy kind of pimp dude that runs the stuff in the dorms is like, "So, you want her for a drama?" And this other man says, "Yes, sir. It's a waste to keep Nana as just a musician. She has the looks and the presence. We want her to star in a drama that our station will be shooting." And Misato's got the dots. And this man says, "I see." And Misato is thinking when Nana said, "Why don't we get jobs where I get to sing more? I'm not some model or stupid actress." And the greasy guy says, "We're much obliged, but just between you and me, we've gotten similar offers from other places." And Misato's looking over him with a sweat bead, and he puffs out his cigarettes. He says the terms have to be just right. And this film guy and his female assistant, the guy says, "Of course the drama will air in the best slot on prime time." And she says, "We'll get the most popular co-stars and scriptwriters." And the greasy pimp says, "Yeah, that's what they all say. Well, the rest is up to the bottom line. What you're paying." And Misato says, but Nana doesn't seem to be too interested in acting. And the greasy pimp says, what? It doesn't matter. It's the manager's job to make her want to do it. And Misato gets big eyes, and then she's like, sorry. And then the greasy pimp says, you better be doing more than just managing her schedule. And then the TV guy is like, please, please. And the female says, but the president certainly has a point. We'll work hard so Nana will want to star in our drama. Please do seriously consider our offer. And she pours the greasy pimp more sake. And Misato looks very downcast. It's gross. It's kind of like, it's really gross, right? It's just like, we already know that she doesn't want to be a model and all this, but it's like the agency just does whatever they like, you know? And especially because, well, they're a punk band, and they had this whole thing in the very beginning, like, well, punk doesn't really sell anymore, so they're trying to, like, you know, throw her into other avenues. She's never going to go for it, though. All right, and now we're back at the party, and the scene change, and there's a spin of the wheel, and Genpai is saying, and now, ladies, presenting our final prize, Nana's treasured Vivian Westwood bag. This mini Yasmin bag is rare. And real Misato is like, I-17, 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 and her friend is looking over her like, you good? And then she's like mumbling, and there's like a thump thump of the heart, and then there's a catching of the little bingo ball, and Genpai says, here's the next number. 6 ladies will go home winners. Maybe someone will hit the jackpot now. And Nana says, ta-da, N38, heart. And there's this other girl in the front who actually kind of looks like Misato, because she's got a little bonnet on and ringlet curls, and she's like, yay, bingo! And the other 2 girls look really sad, and this girl is like, eek, 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 and Nana says, congrats. Please take good care of it. And the girl is just like, stop! And real Misato is watching Nana shake hands with this girl and just has like this very wistful, like, man, I wish that were me look on her face. And now everyone else is like, blah, wow, blah, can I see it, heart? And she says, I'm so jealous. And Clara says, what's there to be jealous about? At least you're honest. And Misato says, I'm jealous she won the bag, but I'm even more jealous she got to shake hands and talk to Nana. And her friend, Fujimoto, says, oh, yeah, that's how I feel about Shin. And Clara says, you can't have everything. Just be happy you got to come to the party and there were so many freebies. And Misato says, of course I'm happy, but still. And she's like munching on the snacks at her. It goes chomp, chomp, chomp. And Clara says, you're such a pig. Are you just doing that 'cause you know I'm on a diet? And her friend says, but Rui was saying that Blast never invited fans to the after parties before they got signed. And Misato says, what? Really? Why not? And Fujimoto says, like whispering, like stage whispering. She's like, there were issues with the fans and with Yasu's first band with Ren. And Misato says, what issues? And Fujimoto says, well, she didn't tell me, but it might be the first and last time for fan service like this. And Clara says, that's why we got so many freebies. And Misato said, but Shion promised she invited us to post-tour parties. She lied just to shut us up? Wah! And Clara says, come on, I doubt that. God, you really gotta babysit the young ones. And now Clara's like stage whispering all conspiratorially, and she's like, when I was following them around on tour, Jin said he'd invite us on the sly. I behave myself. That's why he likes me. And Misato's like, really? Their main manager said that? Girl, you know it's true, says Fujimoto. And Clara's like, shh, don't tell anyone. And both of the girls are like, nod, nod. And Clara's like, their tours require a lot of staff. If they invite the groupies to post-tour parties and charge at the door, it could help pay back agency expenses. And now there's a picture of like Genpai in the back, like counting yen, going, ho, ho, ho. And Misato says, expenses? And Fujimoto goes, we have to pay to go to parties? And then Misato goes, you're shattering my dreams. Don't extort us. And Clara says, of course, it's not a charity. And Fujimoto's like, how much will it be? The train fare is expensive, though, but we have to go, no matter how much it costs. And then Misato's like, oh! And Fujimoto, with yen in her eyes, is like, what? And Misato goes, damn, I forgot to get Yasu's autograph. My brother's gonna kill me. And Fujimoto goes, uh-oh. And Clara goes, no autographs this time. If they sign one, they have to sign 30. And Misato goes, we only got to see the band on stage when there was no time to ask them, so of course I wouldn't be able to ask them. And now Genpai is back on stage and he goes, all right, ladies, heart, I guess everyone's still partying, but the end of the night is fast approaching. And all the fans are like, what? Blah, blah. And he goes, stop complaining. Nana's going to tell you good night. And she's like, yay. And they're all like, eek! Nana! Eek, eek! And she's on the mic now and she says, thank you, thank you. I want to thank you for coming here from all over the country. Because of you, Blackstones have been able to successfully launch our major label debut. We're on the right track now. And they're all like, congrats, clap, clap, clap. And she says, we actually held this party to show our appreciation to the people who've supported us since before we signed. But a lot of new fans also came to the party tonight. So instead, we're feeling the love from all over. One of the original groupies is kind of in the back looking sort of sad. And Nana goes on to say, so, we'd like to pay you all back by putting out lots of songs to make you happy and to play a lot of shows. That's what we want to do. Thank you so much for coming out today. We hope you stick with us through this incredible journey. And then she bows. And they're all going clap, 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 clap. And they're like, Nana! She walks off stage. And then one of the other guys is like, good job, guys. Hurry up. And then Genpai's like, ladies, we have souvenir gift bags for each and every one of you. Heart. There's lots of cool stuff inside, including things you can't buy anywhere. You can pick yours up on your way out the door. And then there's a blah, blah. And they're like, yay! And he says, to keep things cool, please line up in front of the exit and follow the staff's instructions. Don't forget to fetch your stuff from coat check. And Misato says, yay, Heart swag bags. And Fujimoto says, I can't wait, Heart. And it's like, blah, blah, blah. And one of the handlers is like, okay, line up, everybody. And one of the OG groupies is like, let's start with the South. He goes, the South? Kyushu representative. And this girl turns around and she says, yes. And he says, line up. Then Shikoku. And they're like, here. And I think these are the leaders of the fan groups around the country. So they're lining up their team. It goes, zip. And she goes, all right, that's it. And the handler goes, wow, jump. And then there's a knock knock on the door, and it goes, they're all set. And the OG fan says, then we'll have you leave in groups. There are 3 of you from Kyushu, right? And they're like, yes. And then there's a creak, and they're like, go on, because they've opened the door and Blast is on the other side. And they're like, eek! And everyone's like, what? And they're like, the band's over there at the exit. And Clara's like, what? And Fujimoto says, no way. And Misato goes, really? And the OG groupie goes, stay in formation. And they slam. And Fujimoto is like, I can't believe it. Can we touch them? And Misato's heart is going thump, thump, thump. And Fujimoto's like, what are we going to do? And now the girls are just, they are blushing and crying because, well, you know, idols and being that age, it's such a thing, you know. It's an experience, for sure. Very youth. And now we're back in a cab with faux Misato, and she says, I'm sorry for butting in. And the pimp says, huh? And she says, but Nana's schedule is full for quite a while, and she has no acting experience to star in a drama. And he says, oh, no problem. Because of what you said, they're suddenly willing to fight for it now. And she's got this look like, what? And she says, but, and he says, I hadn't considered making Nana into an actress. But whatever that woman Negishi produces always turns to gold. I want to turn their offer into a real job. And he's put his arm around Fomasato, which is yucky. And he's like, if Nana remains just a singer, only Gaia makes money. I'm not going to let that go on. I hate it. And then there's a honk, and we're back with Hachi, and she's looking at the card, and the telephone number on the back, and there's a blah blah, and she's looking up at the clock, and I believe that this is like maybe train or bus times, and is thinking about what she said, like, now that I know that Search is digging all this up, I'll do everything I can to stop it from going to print. And she's having the memory of back at the cafe and Karada just smiling, and she's got like, what is he smiling for? And he says, I think at this point that's impossible. This emotional childhood story of the self-confident Nana will win the public's sympathies and will actually boost her image. Even if you go up the ladder for help, Gaia and Shikai won't do anything. They're selling Blast just on a sheer news value. And Hachi looks very like, what? You know, knowledge, like that dump is very shocking. And he looks over and he's like, what can you do on your own? And she looks down, and he has stood up now, and he's like, Takumi and Nana are celebrities, but you're just a nobody who thinks she's somebody. And Nana had like, Hachi's got this really angry look, and she slams down money, and she's like, to Osaka, please. And then there's a creak of the door because we're in a scene change, and we're back with the band. And the handler's like, all right, next group, come on in. And Nana and Nobu are looking at like a photo or something, and they're laughing. And Clara and Misato and Fujimoto are all standing in the door, all blushing with the dots. And then there's a slam. And Nobu's like, oh, it's number 2. And now they're all like grabbing onto each other like, oh my god, they know who we are. And Yasu says, hey, don't call her number 2. That's rude. And Shin says, so just 2 then? And Nobu says, sorry, don't be scared. Both Nana and Yasu aren't as scary as they look. Except to me. And Nana says, thank you so much for coming from so far away today, Heart. And Clara says, no, thank you. I'm Clara, the Kansai region rep. And Misato has like all these sparkles and blushes and is going, oh. And Fujimoto goes, I'm Chikani Fujimoto. Nice to meet you. And Clara's like, hey, introduce yourself too, she's saying to Misato. And Misato's like crying, going, sniff, sniff, sniff. Fujimoto's got the dots. And she's like, oh no. And then Nana says, I know you. Masato Uehara from the Okonomiyaki shop. Heart, you wrote me a letter. And Misato looks at her, and she's just, all the tears, because she's like, she's ugly crying, but not because she's unhappy, but because she's too happy. And Nana just pulls her into a hug and she goes, "Sweetie, don't cry, heart." And she squeezes her. And Misato's just got this, "Oh my gosh, she's touching me" look on her face. And Shin's like, "Hey, we can do that? Then I'll do it too." And Nobu's got like dots and sweat bead. And Shin goes over to Fujimoto and he kisses her on the forehead. And Nobu's like, "Hey, hey, 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 hey." And Yasu has like the swag bags and he's like, "So here are your souvenir gift bags. 3 of them." And Claire goes, "Oh, thanks so much, our generous leaders." And Nobu's got dots and he's like, "Yasu does whatever he wants." And then Shin's like, "Whoa, sorry, are you all right?" Because Fujimoto has fainted. And honestly, same. And Misato's like, "Fujimoto, don't die!" And Nana's got like little devil horns and she's going, "Ha ha ha." And Claire says, "Oh, excuse me, but do you think we could have just one autograph?" And Yasu says, "Huh? Like mine? Sure." And Clara says, "Misato, your autograph card. Hurry!" And Misato's like, "What? For me?" And she's like, "Okay." And Shin is down here handing his card over to Fujimoto and says, "Give me a call, heart." Like, I would say that it's sketchy, but like they're the same age, so it's less sketchy. And then Nana is like, "Why'd you want Baldy's autograph and not mine, bait and switch?" And Misato says, "My brother's girlfriend loves Yasu. I'm sorry." And Yasu's got the dots. And then Nana says, "Oh, you have a big brother? I wish I did too." And she says, "Huh? Really?" And Yasu says, "But you got me, Nana." And Nana goes, "Huh?" with all the blushes. And then she's like, "I want a big brother with hair." And she flips because he turns around. And Yasu's just got dots. And Misato is laughing. And Shion's in the back and she goes, And Nana is now just kind of stopping for a moment. As Claire says, "Thank you so much for the amazing party. Good luck with all your upcoming shows and recordings." And Nana says, "When we hit Osaka on tour, we'll go eat okonomiyaki." And Nobu's like, "Yeah, totally, heart." And Misato looks just so happy. And Nana's like, "Bye, girls. See ya." And of course, Yasu's thinking because of what Faux Misato said. And now we're back with Faux Misato, and she's like, "Thank you so much for driving me home. Good night." And our greasy pimp says, "I'll make Genpai talk Nana into it. So you just keep on working Nana in a good mood." And there's a vroom as he drives away. And she's bowed, and then she shuffles in her bag for her phone, and it says there's a new email. And it's from Miyu with a sorry. And it says, "They wouldn't let me in the party, so I asked Yasu. I think if you let him handle it, things will be fine. Please don't worry." And then she's just kind of looking at it like, oh. And then there's a ring, and she jumps. And it says Yasu, and the subject line says report. And she opens it up, and it says, "Miyu told me. I watched her, but she seems to be just a Nana fan. Party ended with no problems." And then Fumisato has like this sigh. Okay. But then, there's more to the email. And it says, "But her body type, face, and voice are all very similar to Nana's, as if they had the same DNA. Am I making this up?" And now she's got big eyes like, uh-oh. And it says, "You must be working late tonight, 'cause you'll be with Nana. So I guess we can't talk till tomorrow morning. If my suspicions are correct, please tell me. You can't just keep it to yourself." Brava, Yasu. What happened to Nana's mother will be found out if people track her family register. We don't know who'll end up with this information. We need to watch out for her and for her family. And here's Hachi, and she's at the ramen shop, and she is standing in front of it. And Yasu's note just goes on to say, this wouldn't just hurt Nana. And like she's thinking about going in, but then she kind of rushes by and leaves. And now we are back in the dorms, and it says Blackstones, Ms. Nana. And Nana says, sigh, why do I have to be on some quiz show? And it's live? And Misato says, but people really liked you on the variety show last time. You look cool, Nana, but you say funny things. People like that contradiction. And Nana says, then today I won't say anything, so they'll never ask me on the show again. And Misato just closes her eyes and has like this, oh god, dots. And then Nana says, but the fans told me they're really looking forward to it, so maybe I'll try real hard and win. That'd be so uncool. Misato is just laughing. And now we are with the groupies now in a scene change. With Shion and this other one. It says, so Akiko and Yoko didn't come. They won't answer their cell phones either. Damn. And Shion says, there's nothing we can do. We can control them enough so they don't freak out, but we can't force them to keep being big fans. And this OG fan looks kind of sad. It says, but Blast's music has changed. And I've been thinking, what are they doing on dumb variety shows? But then seeing them play again in a small place like that, and Shion says, still the fan says, made me feel like they haven't changed. They're actually better than before. And I was totally impressed by what Nana said after the show. And Shion has like this, And then the OG fan says, I only wish that Akiko and the others could have seen it. And Shion says, I want everyone to hear what you just said. And then there's the think boxes, and I say, hey, Hachi. And now here is Hachi, and she's gone to a hotel, and he's like, I'm sorry, we are full tonight. And she says, what? Even the single rooms are full? I thought I'd be the only one who'd want to stay at a hotel on Christmas night. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And then there's a slide of the elevator, and she's sighing, and she's looking at her watch. And Kurata is following her. And now we're back in the think boxes. And it says, I was abandoned by my mother when I was 4. I lost my only family when I was 15. I had no hopes or dreams. Singing seemed to be the only way to make a living. I wanted fortune, fame, everything. But now I just want one thing. And now here's Hachi looking very determined as she is walking by. And now we're back, way back, I think in the future, at that Agorad place where we think we saw future Nana singing. And it says, the courage to face things once more. And that's the only thing that she wants. And that is the end of the chapter, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. You can't see it, but this particular volume is quite thick because we will be having a Junko's soon, and then at the very end we will have a special story, a Nobu story. So looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm going to get to it this month, but definitely we'll be getting there very soon. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you all in the next one. Good night.